I like the dollar. I'm very strong on the dollar. And anybody who wants to deal in dollars, they have an advantage over people that aren't. But for the most part, we're keeping it that way. I think if Biden would have, Biden, that group would have gotten elected, meaning Kamala, you wouldn't have the dollar as your currency anymore. You wouldn't have a world domination by the dollar if I didn't win this election. And now the domination, like BRICS. I told anybody who wants to be in BRICS, that's fine, but we're going to put tariffs on your nation. Everybody dropped out. They're all dropping out of BRICS. BRICS was an attack on the dollar. And I said, you want to play that game, I'm going to put tariffs on all of your product coming into the U.S. They said, like I said, we're dropping out of BRICS. And BRICS is like, they don't even talk about it anymore. Scott, you want to add to that?
The possibility of a dedicated BRICS payment mechanism is moving steadily from concept to reality and remains one of the bloc's most important strategic priorities, according to Brazil's ambassador to Russia, Sergio Rodrigues dos Santos. Speaking to Russia's state news agency, TASS, the ambassador said meaningful groundwork has already been laid and that the initiative is both realistic and achievable. He noted that substantive progress was made during Russia's BRICS presidency in 2024 and that discussions are continuing under Brazil's current leadership of the grouping, underscoring the issue's long-term significance for member states seeking greater financial autonomy. Alongside efforts to build alternative payment infrastructure, Russia and Brazil are also exploring ways to expand bilateral trade using their own national currencies. Ambassador dos Santos acknowledged that such arrangements between Russia and Brazil currently lag far behind Russia's trade settlements with partners like India and China. However, he stressed that both governments are actively working to increase the volume of transactions conducted outside the US dollar. One major obstacle, he explained, is Brazil's substantial trade deficit with Russia, which complicates efforts to balance currency flows and limits the practical use of local currencies in commercial exchanges. Addressing that imbalance, he said, is essential if national currency trade is to expand meaningfully. These discussions are unfolding against a backdrop of growing geopolitical friction surrounding BRICS ambitions, particularly with the United States under President Donald Trump. Even before returning to office, Trump took a hardline stance against any attempt by BRICS countries to weaken the dominance of the US dollar. In December 2024, he warned that efforts to create a new currency or alternative reserve framework were over, threatening punitive tariffs and restricted access to the U.S. market for any country pursuing such moves. The message was clear: Washington would respond aggressively to challenges against its financial primacy. By early 2025, BRICS had significantly expanded beyond its original members, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, to include Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, the United Arab Emirates, and Indonesia. While analysts view this expansion as part of a broader, long-term shift among emerging economies seeking greater influence in global governance, the Trump administration has largely interpreted it through the lens of strategic rivalry and the preservation of American economic dominance. Trump's foreign policy style, centered on transactional diplomacy, bilateral agreements, and a strong emphasis on domestic economic gain, has resonated particularly well in the Persian Gulf. Wealthy Gulf states have seen in Trump a leader open to direct engagement, investment-driven partnerships, and personalized relationships that bypass traditional diplomatic channels. This approach helps explain why Trump's first overseas trip focused on Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates. The UAE's position is especially notable as it now straddles two worlds, a close U.S. security partner and a newly admitted BRICS member. The inclusion of Middle Eastern states such as Egypt, Iran, and the UAE in an expanded BRICS has raised broader questions about why long-standing U.S. partners are gravitating toward the bloc. These questions are sharpened by Trump's worldview, which prioritizes narrow American interests while downplaying traditional pillars of U.S. leadership, such as alliance building, multilateral institutions, and liberal economic norms. As BRICS debates alternatives to dollar-based systems, the resulting tension highlights a shifting global order where economic sovereignty, geopolitical alignment, and strategic hedging are increasingly intertwined.
We look forward to our ministers jointly leading China relations in Beijing, ending recent international changes.
The term
20th Central Committee. Fourth, submarine meeting will be.
On Feb 4th, 2020, we showed our team certificate. Comparison. Incorporated. According to the recent assessment of the Beidai Central Bank, Russia has now become the world's fourth largest economy. Of course, in the world, the situation is staged, and psychologists, they can answer for the department. In the book, notably condemning the state in America, the real financial group is with me. It's not really Catholic, and is that the mission we had? The president abroad? The part that seems to be very cool about me again, discovering the car moving. Maybe the doors have been opened, so we're sure to be at the temple this week. Does the Parkish deposit appreciate the ratio of insanity in anyone?
We encourage financial think tanks in both countries to conduct policy research. Recently, under the joint leadership of the heads of state of China and Russia, their relationship has withstood international changes, building consensus on good neighborliness, strategic coordination, mutual benefit, and win-win cooperation, and continues to advance China-Russia relations. Financial cooperation is deepening and progressing. I have three suggestions. First, strengthen communication and coordination of macroeconomic policies to boost development and revitalization in both countries and support world economic stability. Inject new impetus into stable global growth. At present, the tacit understanding in global economic growth cooperation continues to be released, and the policy dividends of China's cooperation better serve the development of the real economy. As the organizer of next year's APEC, ICBC is willing to work together with Russia and other APEC economies to jointly contribute to the development of the Asia-Pacific region. The Chinese Ministry of Finance is ready to work with the Russian Ministry of Finance to strengthen bilateral financial and economic cooperation, jointly advance the China-Russia Comprehensive Strategic Partnership for a new era, and support its development. We are pleased that this round of dialogue has been a complete success.